It's Monday, so it's time to continue with the Game of Thrones rewrite. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
Alright, so... Whoops. Wrong level. I was turning my voice down. Whoopsie. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I don't know where my brain is today. A few announcements. I finally freaking figured out how to use the streaming thing. It took me all weekend. Turns out it's a lot more complicated than you think, and you need way more stuff. So it was just honestly just a perfect storm of crappy things going good, just going wrong. Because, well, some of them were good, some of them were bad. Like, for example, I had originally bought, for starters, I need to mention this, I'm liking the setup of Mixer way more than Twitch. So, honestly, I think I will probably give that thing more attention. However, I think in the PS4, you can't really do Mixer. You can only do Twitch. So I decided, you know what, when I play PS4 games, I'll do Twitch. When I play Xbox One games, I'll do Mixer. Easy peasy. I'll just do it that way. By the way, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I decided to try doing live streaming. That's something I'm going to do now. I think it's an easy way of getting a daily Spanish podcast out instead of having to really... The problem is that I don't have enough time to do it properly, like the way I do this one. And this one, I still I half-ass it half the time. Because I don't have time to do it. I don't have time to actually really do it the way I want to. But it's having content out there. And also, you know what? I've learned that people don't really appreciate the Spanish-speaking market here in the U.S. And particularly the streaming industry. I mean, Twitch doesn't even have a Spanish option, which was weird. They have... I won't get into it too much. The point is... let's just say the setup was interesting. And then I originally bought Modern Warfare because I was going to do Modern Warfare for the Xbox One. And then my other job, which is ReviewNation.net, they send me like, hey, dude, we got you the new Call of Duty so you can play it and review it. I'm like, oh, great, awesome, save some money. But it was for the PS4, and it was a download code. And it turns out my internet sucks for the PS4 because... And I'm going to get kind of technical on you guys, but I'm sorry, I'm venting. Turns out that the PS4 does not connect with the 5 giga internet, which is the good one. It only connects with the crappy one, because I have the older one. I have one of the first generation ones. And apparently you need to get an Ethernet cable. But by the time I figured that out, I just left I went to work and I left the game downloading. I didn't even check. I just left it automatic. I figured by the time I came back, it should be ready. And, if I get off work a little bit early, I can just play that night. It'd be great. It turns out I get there, and it's still 60 hours left. I was like, what the fuck? What is happening? What do you mean? So I went and next day after work, got an Ethernet cable, and then, you can't just have... Because the router is in another freaking room, and you can't just have the wire just... thrown all over. So I bought those little tack things so you can keep it safe so people don't step on it or anything. Installing that took some time as well. The point is, I got it done. Okay, it took forever. It was really annoying, but I got it done, baby. And now the internet's fine. Now the streaming's fine, and I feel a lot more comfortable with everything for the whole setup. So yesterday I tested it out. It worked out fine. The video was probably terrible because I was dead, I was super tired, I was exhausted, and I just kind of half-assed it. I just wanted to play a little. When you just want to play a little, just relax. But I learned a few things. First off, playing story mode or campaign, kind of a bad idea. It's really distracting and it's really hard to talk about stuff. So today, when I get home, I'll probably just play campaign for an hour. Again, it's Twitch, on Twitch, Super Dario World, if you want to check that out. And, well, not campaign, I'll play multiplayer for a little bit. And so that way I can riff. My plan is just going to be riffing. Like I do here, I just see a news article, and I just make give some comments on it. The only difference is that it's going to be in Spanish. So, because again, underappreciated market, bro. I have no idea why more other people aren't doing it, but I'm gonna get in on that busy. So, time to show a little love to the Latinas. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, that was what I did this weekend. Besides a whole bunch of work. Anyway, before I forget, you can listen to the podcast in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in "The Show Presents Super Dario World." You'll find it right there, or you can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, and a whole bunch of anywhere you can stream a freaking podcast, you'll find it. Okay, and the reason why I'm not saying them specifically is because I don't remember the names, but now I do. I got it written down right here. You can find it on Podcast Addict, Spotify, Castbox, everywhere pretty much. And like I said, yeah, Super Dario World Podcast or Super Dario World en Español. There you go. Again, Twitch, Mixer, it's Super Dario World and today it's going to be Twitch. Even if it's just for an hour, it's going to be Twitch because I need it. I need it and I want it. The game is actually pretty good. I'm going to do a review for Review Nation probably on Tuesday because today I don't think I'll have time. Today I'm just going to play a little bit more and then I'll do a review on Tuesday. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Anyway, for those of you who don't care about that, let's continue with the Game of Thrones rewrite. Okay, so like I mentioned last time, we're cleaning house, baby. We're getting ready. We're working to get to the end of the season. All right, we're finishing up season 7 here, and I think I've cleaned everybody else out. The only thing left is the North. Well, not even the whole North, because we already took care of the girls. So it's just the boys and their expedition to the North. You know what I'm saying? But before they go into the expedition, let me just give you a quick reminder of where things stand in the North, particularly, because there's a whole bunch of characters that are heading that direction. All right, so let's see. Let me start here. Where's the best place to start? Oh, doesn't really matter. So where I last left off, Bran had just discovered that when he's near a weirwood. By the way, for those of you who don't remember, weirwoods are the big white trees that they have in Winterfell. They have them in the North that and they have faces that are crying like red sap. Anyway, very pretty trees, and they're very important for the religious people of the North, of the old gods. Anyway, Bran had just discovered that when he's near a weirwood tree, his powers, basically his psychic powers, as the three-eyed raven, they become way more powerful. Right? It's almost like it's Cerebro. It's like he connects himself to Cerebro when he's near the Wedwood. He connects himself to the weirwood net, and his powers expand. When his powers expanded, he felt a really powerful, hot presence in the world, and that's when he learned that dragons had returned to Westeros. At least a dragon had returned to Westeros, and dragons had returned to the world in general. So, that gave him an idea. What was that idea? I'll get into that in a minute, because there's a few complications here. A few complications going on here. First one is that, wait. I need to put a pause on that one, because I need to tell you what everybody else is doing. As for Jon has been managing things up there in the wall. He's, like I mentioned, the big issue here for him is food. People are getting testy and hungry, and so what he's done is that he's gotten food imported in to the other castles of the Night's Watch, and he's been sending out his forces to go protect the food and to bring it back, guard it. That way he doesn't have that many mouths to feed in that particular castle, and he gives people something to do. They're not just sitting there being cold. They're actually out there doing something productive, And so who are these separate groups that he's been sending? Well, he has the Brothers of the Night's Watch. They're not that many left, but there's still enough to do their jobs. He also has a whole buttload of wildlings. All the wildlings left are there. And so he's been using them to kind of rebuild some of the castles nearby, the ones strategically located. And he basically, so that they have a better view of the wall, pretty much so they can protect it better. So it doesn't matter where they show up, where the Army of the Dead shows up, they'll be able to spot them and hopefully get there in time before, they completely bum rush them. So he's been trying to do that, rebuild some of the castles, get food imported through Eastwatch by the Sea and other places, and then spread out by his own forces. And he also has the Veil Soldiers. Now, the Veil Soldiers are the only ones that he's keeping with him in Castle Black the whole time, because he wants them. Therefore, if in a moment's notice somebody shows up or he gets a letter saying that there's zombies here or whatever, they can just immediately go, and it doesn't matter. Anybody else doesn't matter. He can go even by himself and just the Veil Soldiers. And because remember, here's the big thing: in order for the Veil Soldiers to actually want to send more troops to the north to defend against the Army of the Dead, the Lords were like, "Yeah, we kind of believe you that there's zombies out there, but not really." So what Jon suggested is like, all right, fine. Give me your most trusted men. From each major lord, your most trusted men. We will go on a scouting mission on the north. They will see them with their own eyes, and they'll be able to verify. So if you trust your man, you trust his word, and he'll be able to verify this information. And so the Veil Lords were like, all right, sure. In the meantime, we get Lance here. Cool. And so they've been spreading out. I already explained how that thing's going to work with Sansa. She's been doing that. But Jon has to keep those Veil Soldiers with him. They're not that many. They're just a few, like a dozen. But he's keeping them with him. He's keeping them safe. And he wants them to be ready at a moment's notice to just book it. All right? So, Jon also got a letter from a one Samwell Tarly. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Samwell Tarly met with one Jorah Mormont down at the Citadel when Jorah was trying to get his grayscale being treated, and where he realized that, that's not going to happen. But he got to speak with Sam a little bit. Sam wanted to treat him because he knew Jorah Mormont, and he was there when he died, couldn't save him. And so they actually develop a friendship, a kinship, And so it's in the Citadel at the same time, Sam was doing some research, and Sam does send a letter to Jon and to Bran telling him some of the things that he learned from his research. Fun little facts, like he discovered the story of the Targaryen princess and her dragon Silverwing, who traveled to the north, and who actually, what she did is, well, her dragon could not cross the wall. That's the first thing they discovered. The dragon just flat out crashed in the air above the wall, and then refused to obey the Targaryen princess, the Targaryen queen, I'm sorry, when she ordered him to go across the wall. This is the only time that dragon Silverwing actually refused her. And he says that when Queen Alysanne, that's her name, Queen Alysanne went to the north and saw all the things in the Night's Watch and all the Brotherhood, she made them close down the Dreadfort and made Castle Black the official, the main castle of the Night's Watch. So Sam was like, maybe Queen Alysanne saw something there. So there could be something in one of the texts of Castle Black, or maybe something in that you could find inside the Night Fort. Now remember, this is very important. Sam and Bran actually met at the Night Fort once. It was a point where Sam was trying to cross back into well, he was trying to cross. He had Gilly. Okay. This is Sam after the attack of the zombies, after the death of Mormont. Sam was trying to run away with Gilly, and he gets attacked by a White Walker. Sam manages to kill him. That's when he discovers that obsidian kills White Walkers. And he also becomes Sam the Slayer. And so after Sam does that, the only way he could cross back through the wall is through this door that they found at the bottom of where the Night Fort was. And the person who leads him there is none other than the zombie Benjen Stark. For those of you who remember, the uncle, Jon's uncle. He dies in the lake in the frozen lake for some reason in the show. Anyway, so Benjen Stark is the guy who leads Sam Tarly to that specific door, and it's a very weird door. It's actually a weirwood door. So it's like a white weirwood door that has a face, and it's supposedly magical. But at that point, they don't really understand how. And so when Sam is crossing back at that point through that door, on the other side, it was Bran and what's his name? Bran, Hodor, and Mira and Jojen Reed. You know, the Reed brothers, that they were trying to cross to the land of Always Winter. So they met down there, and he kind of remembers that experience and it being a really eerie, weird place. And also, there's a whole bunch of stories in there. So he was like, "All right, maybe there's something there. I don't know. We don't have any text here about it, but if they find something and if they have the time, let's make that a Jon decision." So he tells Jon and he tells Bran specifically, sends them 2 separate letters to make sure that they both get it. Now, so Sam sends that. Then he goes off and he gets killed by Drogon. But nobody knows that yet. That particular point, that particular point of the story has not happened. So, I needed some water. Anyway, so another person that decides to go up north is Jorah Mormont. Jorah Mormont decides that after speaking with Sam, he's like, all right, no, this is important stuff. It's my land, it's my people, and also maybe I could be able to do the same thing that the Vale Lords are doing for Daenerys. I might be able to bear witness to this and be like, all right, this is real, and this is important, and maybe we should focus on it. So Jorah Mormont decides to go all the way up north, and he kind of sneaks out of the Citadel, and he finds a way to head up north. So Jorah Mormont makes his way to the north, and the only issue is that grayscale gets worse with cold. So his grayscale starts expanding a little bit more rapidly. Now, after that, but he was received with somewhat open arms. Not really, because everybody knows who Jorah Mormont is. And Jorah Mormont was kind of in exile. Not kind of, he was in exile. He was exiled by Ned Stark, or he kind of exiled himself before he was, he left in shame. That's why he went into Essos and all that. That's where he met Daenerys. But he's an exiled knight in the north, and kind of nobody likes him. But now he showed up with grayscale, and that didn't make him any more friends. However, he does bring a lot of useful information, particularly about the new people coming in from the south, the situation down there, all that stuff. And again, the leader here is Jon. So Jon basically says, "You're in exile, but you can join the Night's Watch if you want. We need people, so do it, and your sins will be forgiven. Also, you're kind of already dying, so might as well die trying to help." So again, Jon very pragmatic, but he gave him an out to save his honor, and so Jorah takes it. Jorah decides to take on the Black and become a brother of the Night's Watch, even though he doesn't really have to. But he decides, all right, I'll become one if it's a formality. And again, it gives him a little something to do, and it's easier to explain why he's there and all that stuff. It makes things easier. So even though Jon could have been just like, F you, everybody, we need people. I don't care who it is. We need people who have a pulse. Jon he's starting to, well, not starting. He's becoming better at the whole political thing, and everybody's accepted at the Wall if you take your vows, and so he becomes a brother of the Night's Watch. That's what happens to Jorah. Also going up to the Wall are, for those of you who don't remember, Brandon Tully, the Blackfish. Remember, in my fanfic, Brandon Tully doesn't die needlessly in Riverrun. He escapes. So Brienne gives him a warning, and they have time to escape. And he's a great scout. So he grabs some of his best men, and they head up to Winterfell. And after they drop off Brienne, he realizes, okay, well, it sounds like you could really use a talented scout up there. So he decides to head up north and see what's going up there, because he decides to take the situation seriously. Also, kind of doesn't really have anywhere else to go that where he could be particularly useful, or at least his skills be useful. Anyway, so the Blackfish heads up there, and also heading up there are the Brotherhood Without Banners. These are Thors of Myr, Beric Dondarrion, who you may remember is the dude with the flaming sword, and the Hound, who you remember last episode, the Hound actually met up with Sansa and he apologized. They had a heart-to-heart, and he continued on his way north because he had that vision in the flames of the zombies coming down there. So, just to reiterate, the people who are at Castle Black, or at least near Castle Black, doing stuff for Castle Black, are Jon Snow, who's leading everybody, Bran, the Wildlings, and these include Torment and his Wildlings, basically. The Vale Soldiers, or the Vale... Yeah, I'm going to say the Vale Soldiers. The Brothers of the Night's Watch, which includes Dolores Edd, who was the head of the Night's Watch while Jon wasn't there. Dolores Edd. The Brotherhood Without Banners, the Blackfish and his troops, and Jorah Mormont. All right? Those are the people up there. Also, a very important reason why Jorah Mormont was up there, he can read and write. So even though he might not be the best person to be sending out to do stuff, he can still read and write, and so that's particularly useful in that situation. Especially in the situation where Jon got a letter from Samwell Tarly vouching for Jorah. Don't forget that. I forgot to mention it, but this is also very important. Sam sent a letter vouching for Jorah. And so Jon was like, well, I can't have him around all these people, and I don't have the time to go read a whole bunch of books. So it'll keep this guy in a room confined kind of by himself, warm, and it won't make other people uncomfortable, because right now nobody's going out to read books or scrolls or stuff like that. And he sends him out, and he sends Jorah to the library to try to make sense of what the things that Sam told him. Now, that's again, Jorah was doing. He's become like a researcher, and he appreciates it because, again, being outside sucks because it makes his grayscale way worse, hurt way worse. So he's in there. He's trying to read, right? Bran, on the other hand, we're back to Bran. So Bran, he kind of is tempted by the idea of dragons. So he's been going out to the weirwood, and he's been trying to locate the dragons. So again, he crosses the wall with Mira Reed. Mira Reed is her main guardian right now, but he also has a few Brothers of the Night's Watch and stuff, or some wildlings with him, because Jon's not going to let him go alone. So basically he has people helping carry him, but it's his main bodyguard is Mira Reed. And so they take him out to the weirwood so that he can do a lot of things. And the problem here is that Bran is trying to do too many things at once. He's trying to, through ravens, he's trying to find the Night King up in the north. He's trying to find the army of the dead up in the north. He's trying to follow the very cold feeling, and at the same time, he's trying to follow a very hot feeling in the south, on the southeast, which he thinks are the dragons. Now, one dragon he knows he can't touch. He can feel it immediately that's just impenetrable. And I mentioned this before. When one person wargs with another, when one wargs with an animal, I guess it's a vermin, but it doesn't matter. When one person wargs with an animal, they're psychically linked, and it's very, very hard, near impossible to break that link. And so what he does is he ignores that one, and he starts trying to focus on the other two. The problem here is the more that he tries to focus on the other two, it kind of hurts him a little. Not too much, but a little. So he realized, all right, I can maybe focus on one, and he tries focusing on the weaker of the two. So as he focuses on the weaker of the two, he feels like the dragon is first off fighting him, and also getting kind of mad. It doesn't like that somebody's trying to take over his mind. It's refusing. It's fighting. And as I mentioned before, when a human wargs with an animal, one of the other personalities is going to end up taking over. So it's a fight of personalities. A good example of this is all the Stark animals. Summer was kind of nice and docile and loyal, very similar to Bran. Nymeria was kind of wild, like Arya. And Lady was super proper, super well educated, very very nice, very polite for a wolf, just the same way as Sansa. So one person's personality kind of molds the animals, or the animals takes over the humans. Like the case of Shaggy Dog and Rickon, who he became kind of wild. In the show, they don't show that, but Rickon becomes a little bit wild because of the wolf having a stronger personality than a human child. Anyway, so he feels the dragon start to fight with him, and he also feels kind of more, let's say, an aggressive, a very strong hit of testosterone and this anger hitting him. Like he feels cocky in a way. Power. He's starting to feel power. First off, he has power like he's never had before. But second, he's starting to feel like it's kind of starting to go to his head. And this is something that worries Mira a little bit. Because normally Bran's plays it pretty safe. And here he feels like he's starting to be a little bit, not on edge, but just a tad bit off. She can't put her finger on it. She's assuming that he's tired or something. But no, he's trying to spread out a little bit too more. He's becoming greedier and greedier with the use of his powers. So before he would focus on one animal, just Summer, but now he's trying to focus on more and more things, like 100 birds at the same time to try to find the Night King and all and his army of the dead. Also, he knows that he can go into humans because he went into Hodor. So he kind of mentions in passing to Mira that because of the tensions of Castle Black and the people being hungry, he does start to wonder, is it possible for me to go into them and to try to calm the situation? So he mentions that in passing, but Mira is like, uh-oh, this is no bueno. And so this kind of leads to Mira, and her concern, she does talk to Jon. And Jon is like, all right, maybe me and Bran need to have a heart-to-heart about this. Just a slight conversation of what's going on as he tries to update me on what's the situation with the Night King. Because Jon really wants to fight the Night King, and in the meantime, he's been building up defenses at the wall, which is fine, but he kind of really wants to go out there because he knows that they're outmatched right now. He knows it. He doesn't know why the hell the Night King has not come down yet, but he knows that they are outmatched by a lot. So he's thankful for the time that he has, but he really wants to get things moving. He needs more men, and he knows how to get it. So Bran and Jon have a heart-to-heart. They actually have a conversation, which is something in the show doesn't happen. I remember Bran and Jon talking. I mean, I do, but I'm being ridiculous. Anyway, they try to have a heart-to-heart because they've both been through terrible things. One, kind of through death. The other one, becoming Professor X, pretty much. Literally. Oh my God, George R. R. Martin really ripped off the X-Men. By a lot. Anyway, doesn't matter. And also losing a whole lot of things. They both lost a lot. And so he's trying to have a heart-to-heart with him, with his little brother. And at one point, Jon breaches, because this is the only person that he has actually in Castle Black where he actually opens up a little bit with more. That's his brother. He opens up a little bit with more. All right, he doesn't have to wear the facade of the leader. He can actually be the brother, and he can say his concerns and all that stuff. And he tells him the truth, that he's worried that because Bran's not sleeping as much, he can see that he's losing weight, and he says, "Hey, I'm kind of worried. Are you doing too much? I know that we have to do this. I know that things are going really bad, and I appreciate all that you're doing, but you also got to take care of yourself. I'm worried of the toll that this is taking on you." Bran, on the other part, becomes defensive. Again, he's becoming more aggressive. Jon showed some legitimate concerns, but Bran is not taking it the way that he would normally take. He's become a little bit more aggressive, and so he snipes back at him like, "Well, you're just in denial. Like, you could be doing more too. You could be helping me." And Jon is like, "What? How the hell could I be helping you? You're like a demigod. It's not even fair. And you can travel through time. It's not cool, bruh." And Bran is like, no, you're a warg too. If you actually tried to do this, you could actually be helpful to me. You could actually be doing something that helps me find the Night King, not just sitting there trying to build up defenses that are not going to do anything. And Jon is like, whoa. I don't have the same power that you don't have the same thing, and it's just it's not the same thing. It was probably a one-time fluke. Now, Jon does accept that he's starting to accept that that he is a warg. He's starting to accept it. However, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like doing it. He doesn't like going into Ghost and all that stuff, right? He still, because again, reminder, first off, wargs, people look at them as kind of weird. That's number one. Number two, the last time he was in Summer, he was dead. So he doesn't like the feeling of leaving his body. It's something that I would feel too. If I've left my body once and I was like, my body was dead, I would not want to be in that situation again. So it's kind of traumatizing to him, not being able to return to your own body until it was magically healed by Melisandre. Anyway, so Bran then decides to force Jon's hand, and he looks at Ghost, and he tries to warg into him. Now, again, as I mentioned before, breaking into somebody who's already been warged or something, or an animal that's already been warged to, not really easy. You're trying to break a psychic link. So as he tries to do this, Jon immediately feels it, because he feels their link being attacked, and Ghost doesn't like it. He feels the pain in his head. Jon feels the pain in his head, and Jon tells him, like, stop it, Bran, stop it. And Bran decides to go in even harder, which causes Ghost a lot of pain and Jon a lot of pain. Stop it. And Bran just does it even more aggressively with the energy that he has. This makes Jon lose it, and I mean completely lose it. He goes all in on Ghost, pushes Bran out of there, and then jumps him completely. So basically, Jon goes inside Ghost, tackles Bran, and he's almost ready to rip his throat out. Fortunately, Mira is able to get in the way, puts her spear in the mouth of Direwolf, and kind of is like being able to hold him, like calm down, Jon, stop it. And in the meantime, Bran is kind of laughing. He's kind of like, ha, ha, ha. So Jon gets control of himself, leaves the Direwolf, goes back into his own body. This causes Ghost to kind of like step off to the side and still very, very upset. Look at Bran. And Jon gets up, pissed off as hell, marches towards Mira, pushes her out of the way, grabs Bran and smashes him against the wall. Like, don't you ever do that again, you hear me? And right over his shoulder is Ghost, pissed off as hell as well, like baring his teeth. And Bran continues to laugh. And he's like, see, I told you, you can't hide it anymore. You can't hide it anymore. And Jon is like, this is none of your business. And Bran is like, it's everybody's business, Jon. You want everybody else, you want me to do what you're not willing to do. Stop hiding. And so Jon gets he's really pissed off, particularly because he knows that Bran is right. So he just throws him to the side, and he says, just get the fuck out of here. Just get the hell out. And Mira is trying to pick him up, like, what are you doing with him? Just get him out of here. So she picks Bran up, puts him on his chair, and just gets the hell out, right? As fast as they can. Jon is left steaming in the room. He's just fuming, pacing around, mad, and Ghost is right there with him. But after a few seconds, he manages to cool off, calm down, because the assault was very, very violent on his brain. But he manages to cool off. He takes a big drink of wine, and he looks at Ghost. And Ghost is looking right at him, like right at each other. And again, the reason why Jon has to admit to himself that the reason why he was so upset is because the words that Bran said were true. He's been claiming that they'll take anybody, that they will do anything, that they will do their best to try to make the situation work. He'll do anything he has to do to win. They'll take anybody, literally anything, anybody. And yet he has a big power in his brain, and he's not willing to use it. So he admits that, all right, it's time for him to put his money where his mouth is, and he decides to, for the first time, actually voluntarily, knowingly, admitting it to himself, all right, I'm a warg, and this is something that I have to do to save the world. And so he knowingly, for the first time consciously, decides to go into Ghost and try to see things through that perspective. Again, for the first time consciously, not in a dream, not in the middle of an adrenaline rush, not in the middle of a psychic attack, to conscious, or not after death. The first time consciously, and actually try to take control in that way. Now, that's what Jon's doing. At the other side of the room, Mira's just trying to rush the hell out of there, and Bran's like, all right, okay, we need to go. And Mira's like, what the hell were you doing? The hell were you thinking? And Bran was like, I needed to wake him up. It's time for him to wake up. And Mira's like, well, he almost woke up and freaking killed you, you idiot. And Bran is like, it had to be done now. And so now let's just give him time to cool off. He'll be fine. It's Jon. He needs me. He needs me way more than he needs me alive way more than he wants me dead. So don't worry about it. And Mira's like, it was still a stupid idea. Brandon's like, I know, but I think it would be good for us to just give him some space. So let's just head off to the Night Fort. He got the letter from Semble Tarly saying that he should go to the Night Fort. Like, all right, let's just head out there and see what Sam was talking about. It shouldn't take us that long to at least just go and check it out. And Mira's like, you're crazy. We cannot go by ourselves to the Night Fort, and the other men are needed here. That's when, from out of the shadows, comes the Hound. Like, where are you going, little lord? And he basically they say that, well, he pissed off Jon and that he's going to check out the Night Fort. And again, from the shadows comes out Thoros of Myr and Sir Beric Dondarrion, and they're like, oh, we were considering going to the Night Fort. Mind if we join you? And so Mira kind of realizes that, all right, these dudes are shady AF, and nobody wants to go to the Night Fort, but if it'll give us the numbers that we need, for safety reasons, all right. But I really, really, really don't like this. She really, really doesn't like this idea. Bran kind of doesn't care. He's like, all right, I don't really need that much protecting anymore because I can just go into their brains and scramble them a little. But he's like, all right, okay. So to recap how things are going right now, Bran and the Brotherhood Without Banners are on the way to the Night Fort to search for something. The Brotherhood has their reasons for going there. Bran has his reasons for going there. Jon is steaming in his office, but he's actually actively decided for the first time to embrace the warg side and actually go into Ghost and see how that can be useful for that situation for him at that moment. And and Jorah Mormont is in the library trying to do research on the things that Samwell Tarly sent to them. All right, the information about the Targaryen queen that visited the Night Fort. So I think that's a good place to stop. It's already been kind of long, yeah. So I'm going to stop right there. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully it wasn't too messy, but things happen. So this is going to be a multiple part episode. The whole thing has been in multiple parts, but I will continue with the North stuff. The North, we're not even close to done. They're not even over the wall yet. So I hope you found this setup interesting and you're looking forward to next week's episode. Let me see. What am I going to do tomorrow? Oh, no. Honestly, I forgot. I had planned for tomorrow, but I forgot. So hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. Again, I'm going to be probably doing a quick little Twitch today for an hour, Modern Warfare, Super Dario World on Twitch. You can find me maybe around an hour or two. I don't know. I'm trying to do it like around 3. I'll aim for 3. Anyway, as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.